Hello, everyone. We're just waiting for more people to hop on. We're going to get started with the presentation around 2:03 to give everybody a chance to hop on before we get started. We have about half of you on right now. We're going to give it one more minute for some people to hop on, and then we'll get started and people can trickle in as they come. And before that happens, I just want to let you know that there is a Q&A session, so don't hesitate to ask any questions. So write them down as they come up in the chat and we'll get to them during our presentation. Right, it is 2:03 now, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. This webinar is also being recorded, so we can send you a copy of it after if you missed any of it. As I mentioned, there's going to be a Q&A session, so we'll answer any questions, whether it's regarding the process or about Green Key Global in general. Thank you all for coming. It is afternoon for us, so good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're coming from. And let's begin. So today we are going to go over some of Green Key Global's updates and upgrades and help walk you through how to take the new process, because some things have changed in the last year. So I'm going to welcome everybody. I am Ailey. I do communications and member services. I'm joined with Anu, who does communications for Green Key Global. And in the audience, we also have a brand new team member named Tyler, who you will be likely chatting with at some point or other during your journey. He is our new member services coordinator. Today, I'm going to give you an overview of Green Key Global. We're going to walk through how it works and a more in-depth walkthrough on the assessment and audit process. For those of you who are returning and used to the old process, this will show you how to upgrade. And for those of you who are brand new to the program, it will show you how to complete the process. Then we're going to go over some Green Key developments, some brand new things that have changed in this year and some brand new things that are coming in the next year that we're really excited and proud about. And we're going to close it off with some questions. So Green Key Global was established in 1994, so we've been around for almost 30 years. Our parent company is the Hotel Association of Canada. We were created by hoteliers for hoteliers. So this program is unique in the sense that it was developed specifically for the hotel industry. So we're able to look at sustainability as it relates to the hotel industry. This allows our assessment to be tailored to answers that you will have at your property and also your sustainability initiatives that are relevant to your property. Green Key Global now is the leading sustainable certification program for hotels and event spaces in North America. So how Green Key Global works. Our assessment talks about sustainability as a whole, and we're able to meet you where you're at, whether you're just starting your journey or you've already made some significant sustainable initiatives at your property. We analyze the areas of assessment: energy conservation, water conservation, solid waste management, hazardous waste management, indoor air quality, community outreach, building infrastructure, land use, and environmental management. In our new version of the assessment, we also go over ESG and CSR. So ESG is environmental social governance and CSR is corporate social responsibility. We also talk about regenerative tourism. So all of these areas look at sustainability as a whole. I know the first thing that comes in mind when talking about sustainability is environment, but it's also a social aspect, benefiting the community around, and how to reduce waste, and what you're doing with let's just say used linens. So we have all of these are analyzed, and also the economy, talking about your employees, if you have equal staff and diversity. So it takes sustainability as a whole, and we really analyze all of that at your property and help get you the best outcome. So our assessment is organized into these categories or key performance areas. So what we often recommend is having somebody from each of these sections answer these, but you're welcome to do one person answers all, or have somebody from housekeeping answer housekeeping, and so on and so forth. It really is whatever makes sense to your property, but it is split up so that you can answer all of them in one section. So the first section is corporate environmental management. This talks a lot about front of house, talking about how you communicate your initiatives, some community outreach things that you're doing, and what you're doing to train staff about sustainability as well. Then there's housekeeping, which is pretty straightforward. What products are you using? Are you turning off your lights and cleaning during daytime hours to reduce energy cost and stuff like that? There's also food and beverage operations and conference and meeting facilities. To accommodate limited service hotels and properties, these are actually optional. If you don't have them, you can opt out. However, if you do have food and beverage operations and conference and meeting facilities, then you will need to answer these questions. But if you don't have them and you opt out, your assessment will be balanced, so you won't lose any score from not answering those questions. There's also engineering, which of course has so much to do with sustainability, as it touches on everything from water use to energy use. And this helps you also track and get a handle of how much power you're using and how to make it the most efficient, which often ends up saving you money in the long term as well when you take on sustainable initiatives in this area. So the process starts where you register online. Most of you have already completed that first step. Once you've registered, you go on your members area, and that members area is jam-packed with tools, marketing materials for after you've gotten your certification, tools to help you take your certification, and tools to use in your day-to-day practice. So that members area that you get with registration is really your go-to area for sustainability. Once you're ready, you can get started on the assessment, which analyzes those areas of sustainability that I talked about earlier. And this assessment is a self-assessment you take online. You go through all of these categories, answering the questions. There's some mandatory questions, which we have a document that we send later that outlines what they are. These are the basis of our certification. So in order to achieve your Green Key certification, they must be met. This includes stuff like a sustainability policy, an action plan, and emission tracking. We have tools and templates for all of these mandatory questions. So if you're sitting here like, oh my goodness, I don't have a sustainability policy, that's okay. We have a template, and not only do we have a template, we have instructions on how to complete the template, an example of a completed one. So it really makes it easy for you to get started on that journey. But if you already have one in place, you don't need to use the same format. So this assessment is about 215 questions, as opposed to our previous 185 questions. If you've taken the assessment before, the answers actually carry forward. So if you have done an older version of the assessment, anything that you answered before will already be there, and you just have to answer the new questions. Though we do recommend taking a look at what your answers were in case things have changed since you last took the assessment. So the next step, once you've done the assessment, is to look at your automated system evaluation. So this tells you your preliminary score, where you're sitting at, and it will also tell you some score improvement tips. So from here, if you want to redo your assessment, you can actually look at those score improvement tips and make any changes and redo it to try to get a better score. Let's just say there's some low-hanging fruit, like changing your lighting fixtures to a more eco-friendly option. You can go ahead and make that change or make those recommended changes and possibly improve your score before you book the audit. Or you can move forward with the score that you have there. If you're happy with it and ready to move forward, your next step is the audit. So again, in the members area, you can book for your audit. We have two options available. We have a virtual audit. This audit is a little bit more time and cost efficient. So it takes about 4 hours and it's done through video conferencing platform of your choice. The audit is $500 if done virtually. However, our legacy members, meaning anybody that has been with us for over a year, gets a free audit. And these audits are valid for 3 years. You only need to redo the audit every 3 years to maintain your certification. So just as an extra incentive in helping you move forward with the process, it's actually free as a legacy member. The in-person audit is about 8 hours, 6 to 8 hours to complete, and they come in person and take a look at your property. It also has a carbon footprint associated with it, as the auditor will need to travel to the property with that to offset the carbon footprint and also help to pay for the accommodations that the auditor must take to get there. It costs about $2,500. They're both equally as rigorous, so we really recommend the virtual, but it's of course personal or brand preference, whatever makes sense to you and your team. This audit facilitator that we use, Control Union, is accredited, so they are in compliance with all of the latest sustainability standards and continuously improving themselves as well. So once the audit is complete, within 7 business days, you'll get your eco rating certification. So this is your final certification. You'll get 1 to 5 keys, 5 keys being the highest level attainable. But every level is something that should be celebrated because it means that you're taking steps towards the sustainability journey. This is your official certification. So from there, you also get a certificate, a performance report, and a sustainability map. This is really great to then see what you're doing well, what you can improve on next time. And you can also pull this to then see when you're retaking it, what you've answered previously. And then also your certificate can be used to promote your certification to guests. So from here, it doesn't end there. There's so much that you can do to talk about sustainability, to talk about what you're doing, and continue to promote it and improve your sustainability as well. We have, like I mentioned earlier, so many tools in the members area to help you both promote sustainability and to maintain these practices. So Anu is going to get into it a little bit later, but there's departmental checklists. We're also building out a digital toolkit for the new year. So it'll have website copy and a file with all of the branding that you can put on your website to promote your certification. We're working on in-room ads and all kinds of exciting things, but I'm going to let Anu touch on that a little bit later. And I see that we have one question in the chat, so we'll get to that right before going through the in-depth walkthrough. But first, I did also want to mention that we have partnerships. We have MSA partnerships with some brands, and if you're a part of these brands, there's some exclusive benefits. And we're working on internal green program alignment. So for some of them, it's already set up. Like for Hyatt, our program is aligned with your internal green program. So during the assessment, where you'll see the tips and tools, there's also specific brand tips and tools. So you can use those to either find the information that you need or tailor your answers with that in mind. It's really helpful, and we've seen a lot of great success going through with these internal green program alignments, and we're working with more brands to get that set up. If you're not familiar with your benefits and you're part of this brand, don't hesitate to reach out to any of us after this presentation, and we'll help get you sorted out. So the question is, does the free audit for legacy members include in-person audit or just a virtual audit? That is a really good question. It's actually just the virtual audit for the legacy members. So since we're recommending that as Green Key, that's the one that is free. If you want the in-person audit, then you're welcome to select that, but only the virtual is free this year. All right, and now we also got a question. Hello, I was hoping that we could get a better understanding of how our preliminary score compares with hotels of the same size, room key, numbers, meeting space, square footage, and brand. This would help us make internal decisions on how to create our best action plan. I need to reread that to understand. Sorry, 1 second. So a better understanding of how our preliminary score compares with hotels of the same size. So we're going to get into that later on. So we are working with a data partner to help you see an overall comparison with hotels without naming other specific brands. You can see how you compare with similar hotels. So Ronald, we're going to get into that a little bit later in this presentation. It's something that will be available in 2024, but I will touch on that a little bit later. In the meantime, though, your preliminary score is actually very personalized. So it has specific things for your property on how to improve based on what you have given in the self-assessment. It'll tell you things that you can do. So these are very, very personalized to your property, and it tells you the best action plan that you can do to improve at your property. But this data partner that we're working with will allow you to then compare how you compare, with similar size properties, similar regional properties and stuff like that. We'll get into that a little bit later. That's a really good question, though. All right, so I am going to hand it over now to Anu, who's going to go over a process walkthrough.
Thank you, Ailey. So I'm just going to come on to explain the process of the assessment. We also recognize that some people have taken the assessment before, so some of the steps might be different, but essentially it's the same step. And I'm just going to do a walkthrough of what you should expect. So usually when you want to take the assessment, you have to log into the members area. You should already have your password and your username. And if you don't have one and you're already an existing member, you can always reach out to us and we will help you send the details. So when you log on, you will see this dashboard, and this dashboard has almost everything, actually has everything that you need to go through the assessment process. And the first thing is this part here, which is completing your Green Key Eco Rating assessment. So you can click on this to get started, and then it will lead you to the next step. The next step here is to actually start the assessment. You can go to view assessment. If you've taken the assessment before, though, you would see this option that says retake assessment. You are not taking the entire assessment all over. It's just updated with the new questions, and then you can take those. But if you haven't taken the assessment at all, then it will just be view assessment. So once you click on retake assessment, it will take you to step 3, which is to tell you that your request to retake the assessment has been received, and then you get an email. So when you get that email, you can then refresh and then log in to proceed to actually retake the assessment. And then when you log in, again, you'll see this button that says begin assessment. Before you go there, you can see that we have this helpful video. It's an assessment walkthrough video, very great for you. If you have any questions about it, it can essentially show you everything that you need to do before taking the assessment. But then when you're done watching the video, you can just go ahead and click on begin the assessment. So once you click on that, you answer all the questions that you have to answer. Like Ailey mentioned earlier, all the questions are divided into different sections. So you can fill it all out by yourself, or you can get different people in the hotels who are familiar with that area of work to fill out those sections. Now, for example, in this slide, the answers were not all put in correctly, and so that's why you have this warning here. So it's very detailed. It shows you where exactly you're missing some answers, or what section you need to go back to. So for example, for the engineering section, the name of the person who completed the assessment was not written there, or who completed that section was not written, and then the job title as well. So the good thing about this is it prompts you to go back to that section, but it also tells you what section you're missing answers. So once you answer that successfully, you should be able to move on to the next step. Here you can see all the options down as well. It tells you what steps you're missing. And then after this step, you can essentially move to the next step, which is to actually select your audit. So this is step 5. And then in the next slide, which is step 6, you can actually go ahead to book your audits. You can either book a virtual audit or you can book an in-person audit, which we always advise for you to go for the virtual audit, because of course, like, you reduce your carbon footprint by doing a virtual audit. But we can assure you that both audits are very detailed and very they're both accepted as well. The virtual audits can, like Ailey mentioned earlier, it can happen over Zoom or Microsoft Teams, whichever you would prefer. All you have to do is have a working laptop that you can take around with the camera, because the auditor will ask you to go around the hotel showing off different areas as well, just so that they can confirm that those things that you say you're doing are actually, being put in place. And then you can go ahead and request your audit. Once you request your audit, the auditors typically take about 90 days, or it could be less as well, to finalize the audit, and they will get back to you on scheduling a time that works perfectly for you. You do not have to do all your assessment in one go, but your audit will take about 4 hours thereabout if it's a virtual audit. Now, once you're audited and certified, you of course have access to the dashboard, where we have provided you with tools for you to essentially market your efforts. You can get all sorts of tools for your websites or even your newsletters to let people know what you're doing sustainability wise. We also have some tools for you to improve your rating. So if you have taken your assessment, but you don't want to move on to your audit yet because you would like to improve your rating, we also have this great tab for you to go to see what your options are for improving your ratings. And if you have done your assessment and everything is complete, then there's also a spot for you to download your certificate, which you can then display in your hotel. We also have a great plaque that we sell that shows off to your hotel guests what key you're certified at. So it could be 5 keys, it could be 4 keys, 3 keys even, but depending on what keys you have, then you can go ahead and buy that plaque and display it in your hotel. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And we also have some helpful one-pagers as well that we can send to you to help you with the entire assessment process as well. And then I'll hand it over back to Ailey now to continue.
Thank you so much, Anu. So now I'm going to go over some of our recent developments and some of our upcoming developments, so you can see all of these tools and benefits that we offer you, and how we keep up to speed with current sustainability standards, and we outpace the standards. So previously, and since 1994, we were aligned with 7 Sustainable Development Goals. So these are the goals set out by the United Nations. You might also refer to them as SDGs, and they cover sustainability as a whole. So it goes through every topic of sustainability, like no poverty, zero hunger. Previously, we focused on climate action, affordable and clean energy, responsible consumption and production, sustainable cities and communities, clean water and sanitation, and life on land. Oh, sorry, and industry, innovation, and infrastructure, if I forgot that one, sorry. So now we've actually redone our assessment, and we're now aligned with all 17 of the United Nations SDGs. This is so exciting because not only that means that once you've done the assessment, you are in compliance and aligned with all 17 SDGs. And these SDGs aren't just for the hotel industry, they're widely known across anybody who's interested in sustainability. And it's something to promote to guests, something to talk about. It's so important to talk about sustainability more than just environment, talk about the community impact that it has. And now you know that through doing our assessment, you are also in alignment with all 17 of the United Nations SDGs. Some other exciting things. So on top of this updated assessment, there's now an online audit process. So this really adds validity to certification, and it allows us to proceed with our goal of accreditation. These online audits also help you see where you're at and provide you with the most informative and helpful personalized tips to improve your rating. And then on top of that, it also adds validity when guests or businesses are asking about your certification. You can inform them that you've been audited. Furthermore, we've worked on user experience and improvements. So our assessment is now more interactive and intuitive. Like I mentioned, a lot of brands now are working towards aligning their internal green programs with our assessment, which makes it a lot easier to fill it out because you already know where to find that information and how your brand is tackling that if it's relevant. There's also, we're building out more for this. So there's going to be a brand new website coming, but I think I touch on that in the next slide, but we're very excited about that. As I mentioned, our assessment also now talks about CSR and ESG, diversity and community, and is now aligned again with all 17 of the SDGs. Another exciting thing is our vetted supplier program. So we're building this out to be so user-friendly for you and so easy to find the right vendors that connect you with to boost your sustainability, to reach these sustainable goals that you set. And on top of that, they're already vetted by us. So we have a mandatory code of conduct that they must fill out so that you can trust that they've already been assessed through us and we already know that they're a sustainable vendor. We also go through a process to select them. So not just any vendor gets onto this program, they're all carefully selected to suit the needs of our members. So furthermore, there's a whole bunch of new developments coming up, whether mostly next year, but some of them are a little bit longer term. So one of them is an ROI calculator. This calculator is going to be so helpful. So it takes some common upgrades and projects that hotels do to boost sustainability. And it tells you, the investment, the long-term money saving, and just everything that makes you help plan this project and see if it's a good idea for you right now, or maybe it makes more sense to do it a little bit in the future, or maybe there's this other project that makes more sense for you. So this will be a really helpful tool when making some of those bigger projects and making sure that it makes sense for you at this time, and also to see and plan how like the return on investment that you're going to get from these projects. There's also enhanced member resources. So on top of, for example, the assessment walkthrough, there's many more of these really helpful animated videos that we've built out, and we're building out more, as well as connecting with industry experts to bring more education to you. So we have a lot of webinars that we're going to be providing for you throughout the year and ongoing, and we're also connecting you with, data partners, which I get into a little bit later, and all kinds of things to help you learn about sustainability or teach your staff about sustainability and see what other hotels in the industry are doing, and just ways to get involved and get inspired and learn how to improve your rating as well. So we're also working on our meetings program. So right now we do have a meetings program, and it is aligned with sustainability standards, but we're working towards improving this and making it a lot more robust. So our meetings program used to be only for hotels with meeting space, but we're building it out so that it's open for event venues as well. We already have a couple of those on board. I'm not sure if any of you are here today. But our meetings program will be growing just as much as our eco rating program in the very near future. As I mentioned earlier several times, we also are working with a data partner so that you'll be able to compare your property with similar properties. Now, it won't expose any personal information. It'll just give you a generalization so that you can see how a similar sized property compares, or how a property in your region compares, and you can see all of that information and use that to kind of help boost your property, and see it's also good for marketing. If maybe you're the most eco advanced, I guess, property in your area, that's something really something you should be proud of and be promoting. And for those competitive general managers, which I know many of you are, it also helps kind of give you an idea of where to set your goals in terms of sustainability. We're also working on some carbon accounting tools, like a free carbon calculator, and this is really helpful and really cool to show you, what your emissions are and see what you can do to help reduce those. And with that is a carbon neutral event certification program. So we're building out a brand new program. And some of you, if you're part of one of our brands that's working on a pilot program, might already know about this. But in the new year, we're launching a new program where you can certify specific events and work with event planners that are coming to your property to get their events certified as carbon neutral. And what this means is that you've gone through and filled out, or whoever is planning the event through your guidance, fills out this calculator, and it will then tell you how much emissions are created through the event. And it'll also tell you tips on how to reduce those emissions by change in behavior. And then whatever isn't reduced, there's an offset. So these offset projects were carefully selected by us, and we go into more detail on what they are and how they impact the planet. But these offset projects actually put like forward money towards helping them. So for example, one thing that we do as a company, we work with One Tree Planted, and that's a form of a carbon offset project. But these ones are, I can't think of them offhand, but we do have a list of them. I think it's 3 where they help to reduce the carbon emission that you're putting out from your event, and therefore it's neutralizing the event's carbon emissions. Furthermore, we're also working towards accreditation, and we're already recognized by GSTC, but we're working towards becoming the first certifying body that is accredited. So Anu is going to hop back on and go through some of our cool new tools that we have and that we're going to be sending you after this presentation.
Thanks, Ailey. So to help you just explain Green Key Global to your team and your guests, we have a bunch of helpful materials that we've prepared for you. We have a bunch of one-pagers. We have program information pages. So every single thing that you need to know about Green Key Global, about how to complete your assessment, about how to do the audit, book an audit, and everything you need to know we have in the information. So along with this presentation, which is actually being recorded, we'll also send you a Dropbox link that has every single thing that is mentioned on this page. So we also have the staff onboarding page. We have guest-facing materials as well, things that you can put in and around your hotel to let people know what you're doing, sustainability-wise. Also stuff that you can put on your website as well. And then what to expect document with guidance video links. So if you would prefer to watch videos about it, for example, we have a bunch of new videos that we just worked on and we're excited for you to see. We also have general and audit specific frequently asked questions. So of course we do this webinars frequently, and we have so many questions that people ask us from the audit process to the assessment process itself, or even just about Green Key Global in general and how hotels can take better advantage of Green Key Global. We have all those questions that people ask, so you can also see that in case you have a question now that you want, you can put it in the Q&A section, or you can just read the FAQ document. We also have mandatory questions document. This is very important as well, because if you do want to take the assessment and you would like to see what questions are mandatory before you start, you of course can look at this document to help guide you. We also have the Green Key Global branding assets. We have logos and just helpful images as well that you can use on your website. For example, if you complete your assessment and you've had your audit done, you can always use our eco rating logo or the 4 keys or 5 keys or any keys logo on your website as well, just to show guests what you're doing and how you're certified by Green Key. We also have departmental checklists. We have this has information for different sections in your hotels so that different departments can know what information is required from them. So if you're having just one person filling the assessment out, for example, this is helpful to guide that person in knowing what to ask each department for. We also have great animated videos that we're very excited about. Some of them are about Green Key Global. Some of them talk about sustainability in every area of your hotel. So it's the little things as well as the big things on what to do in your hotels to be more sustainable or even just to improve your ratings. We also have animated videos about carbon neutral events, which Ailey talked about. We're very excited about this and we see how helpful it will be in the future. So definitely you can watch this video to just find out more on what we're doing. And then we also have videos on the assessment and audit walkthrough, which is in the members area actually, and you can just look at that to kind of guide you on filling out your assessment and just what to expect when it comes to your audit. And one thing we're excited for in the future is we're working on a bunch of in-room ads, which you can put in your hotels and guests can actually watch, when they arrive at your hotel. So for the in-room ads, for example, a guest walks into your hotel, they check in, and the first thing that plays on the screen is telling them how your hotel is Green Key certified and it's sustainable in the different ways. We think that it's so exciting for guests to be able to see the wonderful efforts that you all are making to being more sustainable. And then we also have a very helpful toolkit as well that will be in the Dropbox link. And of course, we have more materials and information that we can provide you with. So please feel free to reach out to either myself or Ailey anytime you want to ask us for more information or anything you think will be helpful in, promoting your sustainability efforts to your guests and even just to your staff.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anu. Yeah, we've worked a lot on all of these tools that we can offer you to help talk about sustainability because it's so important to help inform guests of your certification and help them get involved. A lot of travelers are so excited when they find out that a hotel is certified and they want to be involved in that process, and using these like digital toolkit things that we have created for you in these in-room ads really gets them excited and wanting to keep booking with you and finding hotels that are certified to make an impact on the world while they travel. So with that, we are going to open up the floor for any questions following this presentation, whether it be about Green Key, about the tools that we have, or even about the process and how to upgrade. I just want to take a moment to note that we work with One Tree Planted as a charity partner, and we plant a tree with every new member. And for the holidays, we're actually planting 2 new trees for every new member until the end of the year, as well as anybody that completes this new assessment process. So if you're holding off, maybe go through it so that you get an extra tree planted, you get a whole certificate, and you get the little journey of the tree with pictures and stuff like that. And it's going towards projects in North America to help combat deforestation. So it's a really great project to get involved with, and just one more way that we try to help benefit the planet and get involved ourselves as an organization. So I'm going to let Anu take over the question moderation.
Thanks, Ailey. Please feel free to put your questions in the Q&A section. For now, we don't have any.
Oh, I saw the answered question about the audit. Thank goodness that they got back to you. So we had a question asking about the audit. They had requested an audit. So it can take up to 90 days, 90 to 120 days. So it can take up to 3 months for them to get back to you, but we will be talking with them about having a bit more frequent communication so that you're not wondering if the process or if the request was processed. So I'm sorry that that you didn't hear back from them, but I'm glad that you just got the email back and that it's all sorted, and good luck on your audit, Mael. Sorry if I pronounced it wrong. So if anybody has any more questions, okay, so we got one more question at the moment. I think Anu will be hopping back on briefly to come up with some more questions in the meantime. So this question, what methods of payment do you accept membership for the audits? Do you accept checks? Now that's actually a really great question. So right now, especially if you're in the United States, checks are taking a little bit of extra time to process. So if you do want to pay for for your audit or for your membership via check, you're more than welcome to. But please do keep in mind that it's not considered processed until the payment has been completed. So it's recommended to pay via credit card or EFT, but you are welcome to pay by check. So if you're talking about the membership fee to begin with, then you don't have access to the self-assessment until the payment has been processed. So with that in mind, we accept EFT, check, and credit card, but there may be a delay with checks. Do we have any more questions from anybody who is attending today, whether it be about the process, wondering about sustainability in general, or wondering about Green Key in general? Anu, is your mic working? I see that you're on again.
Yes, apologies.
No,
Technology.
that's okay. It is all good. We had it handled over here. I see that another question.
Yeah, we do have a question from Noel. It says, our hotel is currently planning renovations for 2024. How is the best way to answer questions with this in mind?
That is a really good question, Noel, and this can be handled on an individual basis. I'm not sure what your property is, if you've done the assessment before or not. If you have done it in the past, you do have a year from your renewal date to first time. Okay. So with that in mind, we can connect offline to talk about the specifics of what your renovations entail and how to answer your specific questions. But in terms of answering the general questions, you can kind of keep in mind some of the things that you will be doing and just make a note. So every question has a note option, and then mention like, I don't know if one of the renovations is like changing your toilets to low flow toilets, then I would make a note of that because low flow toilets are more eco-friendly than a regular toilet. So just make sure to make a note to that auditor that you are upgrading and that it will be the low flow in this example's case. But connect with me offline. You'll get the copy of this presentation with my email in it, and we can kind of discuss for specifics for your property. But I would highly recommend in that note function, just say that to the auditor so that they know that in the near future, this is what will be happening. As well, it isn't exactly related to that question, but technically anything that you do, that you submit is what needs to be done for the audit. So if you're in the process, let's say, of finalizing a partnership with a charity partner and you haven't quite started it yet, you can mention that so that in the audit, they'll know that, let's just say you're donating your used linens to a charity partner, then you can say that you are, if you haven't completed it while you're doing the assessment, as long as it's completed by the time the audit is done and is set up. So it doesn't quite answer your question, Noel, but just as a general, if there's something that you're in the process of setting up, you can mention that as well.
Don't have any more questions in the Q&A section. Maybe we can just go ahead and ask one more FAQ.
Sure.
Perfect. So one question we also get a lot is if the assessment has to be completed in one session or if it can be completed over time.
Yeah, so there's no time limit on our assessment. The one thing I will flag though, especially if it is your first time, is that you're not officially certified until that assessment is complete. So whether it takes you one day or 1 year, hopefully not a year, but if it does take you longer to complete it, then it is completely okay. But keeping in mind that your certification isn't valid until the whole process is complete. So if you're want to make a couple changes before finalizing, you're welcome to do that. But not until your audit has been complete is your certification official. If you have done it before, so you've already gotten assessed and audited, then you'll keep your old score until it's complete. So it's a little bit easier to take a bit of extra time there, but yeah, you can take as long as you need. There's no rush, and if you need assistance, you can reach out to the team. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming. And if any more questions come up, we are happy to answer them through email or hop on a call and discuss whatever your questions are and help you answer or complete your assessment, I should say, in any way that you need assistance with. We are here and at your service. So you can reach out to me, or I can get you connected with Tyler, who again is a brand new member of the team that is very excited to start helping you guys out. So don't hesitate to reach out at any point. And we have one more webinar coming up before the end of the year. If you want to hop on for another refresher or send anybody from your team, we have one next Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And the link is on our website. So if you want to get anybody registered for that, there's still time. Otherwise, have a really great holiday, and we look forward to working with everyone throughout the new year. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you again. Bye.